Welcome to another Asian language fight with English language commentary. Really, I know this every time, but we need a better name for this. And today we're looking at Rentaro Kimura's recent debut against Yuya Azuma. For those unaware, Rentaro Kimura is regarded as the next big thing in Japanese boxing. As you can see from the amateur footage, he looks sharp, he looks really talented. He's the guy in black here who, he won national tournaments in 2016. 2017 and 2019. He signed up with the Suruga Boys gym in Shizuoka, but will be fighting mostly out of the Misako gym in Tokyo. That's the same gym that has fighters like Kitaro Bara, Kenta Nakagawa, Kenichi Horikawa, and it also has Kenshiro Taraji training there. So it's a really good gym, really high level of fighters are training there at the moment. He is somebody who's very, very, very hotly tipped. He has been compared to the likes of Naoya Inoue, Kosei Tanaka, Kenshiro, Hiroto Kaiguchi, and he's spoke about wanting to win a world title in his first 10 fights. So this is the sort of guy we're looking at, a top prospect, a fighter who is very confident in himself, full of self-belief, and he's making his professional debut against a guy who's actually a lot better than his record suggests. Yuya Azuma might not look anything on paper. He had a number of losses before this bout. I believe he was like 5-3-1. In reality, though, he could have had a lot of those setbacks, a lot of those losses turned into wins very easily. A lot of his defeats were very close. And as you can see straight away, he's not actually a bad fighter. He's come to win. He's the guy in blue and silver. Kimura's in the gold and black. And you can tell that Azuma's here to win. He's not here to just make up the numbers. He's clearly not on the same level as the Southpaw Kimura, but he's not there just to accept the loss. He's there to win. He's trying to figure out what Kimura has, and unfortunately for him, Kimura's straight left hand there cut him clean. In Azuma, we have somebody who is gutsy. Obviously a slip/trip. I think on replay you can see he does actually get his feet tangled. But Kimura, again, even when he goes down, he still looks composed. He looks really calm. He looks like a natural in the ring. His lead jab is just incredibly sharp, incredibly quick. For a debutant to look this crisp and clean is just brilliant. It's a gorgeous thing to see someone looking clean on offense. Lovely little counter left uppercut from Kimura. One thing I'm not liking about him, and you'll spot this throughout the fight, is that he does hold on when Azuma comes close, and it's a shame because I think the inside work of Kimura is possibly the one area that he can improve on. You saw again there, just spoils a little bit when you see his uppercut. We saw one earlier, and we see several more before the fight ends. His uppercut is really, really, really something of beauty. It's another one there, and it'd be nice to see him use more of them on the inside rather than, I guess, going back to his amateur traits of holding and spoiling on the inside. Lovely body shots from Kimura, but then he gets tagged himself by a right hand, I believe. Azuma again showing he's not there to just fall over. He's showing he's there for the win. He's outclassed, he's outskilled, but he's gutsy, he's coming to fight, he's determined. He's just really unfortunate to be up against someone who is just that much better than him. And a couple of uppercuts from Kimura. There's so much to like about the way Kimura goes about his offense, and a little bit of an attitude there from him as well. One thing that I was really impressed by when I was watching this the first few times is the fact that Kimura doesn't seem to be, how do we say, the cleanest of fighters. He seems to have that attitude. The elbow in the face there. We see a little bit later on he lands a low blow. He seems to have some of those pro tricks already under his belt. The sort of things that perhaps Vasyl Lomachenko could have done with knowing before he turned professional. Nice straight. There's so much going on with Kimura when you watch him. He seems to have every punch in the arsenal. The uppercuts to the body, the uppercuts to the head, the straights, the jab. Later on we see some feints from him that are really smart, really clever. There's a lot to like. As for Azuma, he continues to go for it. He didn't look like he was ever scared or too respectful of Kimura. He looked like he was being outboxed, but he was there to win. But yeah, as mentioned earlier, it was 5-3-1. The one problem he really had prior to this bout was his lack of power. He'd only scored one knockout, and I dare say that perhaps, maybe, possibly, explains why Kimura wasn't so defensively sharp. He knew he could get away with making mistakes against somebody who doesn't punch. But regardless, he doesn't actually take too many. He does take one or two, and he does take them a bit too clean, but he doesn't take many overall. In round 2, we again see Kimura take centre ring, Azuma on the outside. Azuma, although on the outside, he does come in quite nicely a few times. And when he does come in, it sort of, like there, it forces Kimura to hold on. And again, and I said this in the first round, I'm not a fan of that from Kimura. I'd rather he stood his ground and let his own hands go. But there's, on one hand, it's not something I want to see a lot of. When Kimura has more fights, I want to see him fight on the inside as opposed to holding. On the other hand, it's nice to see he has got that in his arsenal. Just perhaps overused it a little bit, but nice way of just shrugging and pushing Azuma off. Azuma really is hungry, and credit to him for going for it there. That's really, really nice to see from the big underdog. As I mentioned in the first round, Kimura does land a nasty low blow, and yeah, that one stings. It's nice to see it's in his arsenal, but it's not something we want to see a lot of, especially when it's this low as well. That's a ball breaker. That's something that Azuma's going to feel. But again, we didn't see that from Lomachenko, and had he showed that sort of thing, it may have helped him against Leader. So it's a double-edged sword. It's nice to know he has it. It perhaps isn't something he wants to use too much, but it is what it is. Back on the front foot, this is where really I'd like to see more of Kimura going forward. I'd like to see more pressing, more offensive, putting the pace up a little bit more. He was waiting off a bit too much in the first round for my liking. Again, first professional round, you can understand it, but it was just a little bit too much. Here we're seeing him press forward, we're seeing him feint, we're seeing him try and draw a lead, and this is just gorgeous, gorgeous offense. Straight uppercut, Azuma down. That's probably the perfect way to end anyone's debut. It's just a brutal combination. Thankfully Azuma's fine, but when Kimura put his foot on the gas there, it was over in a blink of an eye. It was just, as we're seeing here, feint, straight uppercut. And brutal. It's speechless. The other angles just make it look just a bit more devastating as well. Uppercut at the end. A couple of weeks after this fight, we saw boxing return to the US. And there's a fight with, I think it's Joseph George, and they were talking about that being the KO of the year. For me, this is still my favourite KO of the year. It's just punch perfect. It's just brutal. It was lightning quick. It was fantastic. Even he himself talking to his trainer going, I could improve this, I could improve that, this is really good. And I like to see the kid actually showing those sorts of awareness. But yeah, really impressive win for Kimura. Hopefully we see a lot more of him. He is meant to fight again in September on a card in Shizuoka, and hopefully, fingers crossed, that card is streamed. It's something the Suruga boys have spoke about, so hopefully that's streamed. For now, it's a case of perhaps just working on those defensive issues, the holding. But other than that, I was really impressed by Kimura. I thought it was fantastic, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of him. As for Azuma, I didn't see Azuma fight more at a lower level. He's got plenty of talent, he's got plenty of guts, so it'd be nice to see more of him. And again, thank you to the people who do still pay for this channel, who do still financially back us, to do share the links and everything else. It is much appreciated, even if it is just a case of retweeting something or liking something. Thank you to everybody who's backed us at all at any point. It really is appreciated.